This week on The Watchman, more amazing archaeological discoveries in Jerusalem. We travel back some 2,600 years, the time of King Solomon's temple, for an unlikely find that holds clues to one of the Bible's most infamous events.
2 Kings chapter 25, the first 3 verses of the chapter, it talks about the Babylonian siege on Jerusalem. And it literally talks about the devastating impact that the siege is having on the people of Jerusalem. They are starving to death.
Plus, we head to the shores of the Sea of Galilee for an up-close look at a fascinating archaeological site that Jesus may have mentioned in one of his most famous sermons. All that and much more, only right here on The Watchman. And welcome to The Watchman. In these difficult times in which we are living, we all need some encouragement. For me, that means going to the Bible, the Word of God, to remind myself of God's promises to each and every believer, that He will never leave us or forsake us, that He will strengthen us and uphold us with His righteous right hand. Now, the Bible is certainly one great source of encouragement. Another is how God is moving in the land of Israel, His land, today. One way in which He is doing it is through biblical archaeology. Now, I'm privileged as host of the Watchman Show to be on the ground in Israel on a frequent basis, where we bring you these incredible archaeological finds that prove the truth of the Bible. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus said, "All that is secret will eventually be brought into the open, and everything that is concealed will be brought to light and made known to all." Folks, that's exactly what's happening today in Israel with these amazing archaeological finds. Just recently, we had yet another groundbreaking discovery in Jerusalem, dating back some 2,000 years to the time of Jesus. This underground cave complex consists of 2 rooms which are linked together by a stone staircase. Now, Israeli archaeologists aren't sure as of yet what exactly this subterranean cave complex was used for. They did find evidence of Jewish ritual there and also some cooking utensils, but the key point here, I believe, is that this underground cave complex is located just 150 meters from the Temple Mount. Folks, I cannot wait to get back on the ground once these travel restrictions are lifted and get into those caves and bring them to you up close here on The Watchman Show. Now, when you're talking about archaeology and Jerusalem, you've got to talk about the city of David, ancient Jerusalem, where we visit with our good friend Ze'ev Orenstein on a frequent basis here on The Watchman Show. Ze'ev joined us again recently with an unlikely artifact that sheds light on one of the most infamous events in the Bible. Take a look. Well, Ze'ev, thanks so much for joining us once again from your home in Mali Adumim. We are still sheltering in place, but you still have some incredible archaeological finds at the city of David to tell us about. And what we're talking about today dates back to the first temple period. Tell us what you have.
A number of years ago, archaeologists discover an ancient toilet. And it's one of the only toilets, an ancient toilet that's been found in the country, one of the very few. It's one of the oldest toilets in the world. It goes back some 2,500 years to the period of the very end of First Temple period Jerusalem, to the rule of King Zedekiah, the last king of the Davidic dynasty. Now, okay, you could say the story ends there. It's the toilet. You can make all sorts of toilet jokes and great. But, however, Jerusalem is different. The city of David is different. When you find an ancient toilet in the city of David, it's not just a toilet. Now, archaeologists and scientists, they're funny people. And so some scientists a number of years ago said, we're curious. What was the diet of the last people to use this toilet? Now, this toilet, as you can see, it was on the slopes just beneath where it is believed to be the location of King David's palace. So it's clear that this was an important area, the royal Capitol Hill of Jerusalem 2,500 years ago.
Yeah, that was a golden toilet, I'm sure, Ze'ev.
Right. So someone's eating with a silver spoon, and then they had the toilet. Now, we have an ancient teaching in our faith that who is rich? One who has a toilet next to his table. Now, you might say, really? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Why is it a big deal? Today, we take for granted that I imagine everyone who is watching this, and certainly watching it on TV or online, we all have internet, which means we have computers and TVs and indoor plumbing. But throughout much of the ancient world, that was a luxury. Many people, when they had to do their thing, went out into the field somewhere and did their thing. If you actually had your own toilet, that meant you were somebody. And it's clear that this toilet belonged to a somebody. Now, the scientists, they dig up the earth beneath the toilet. They scoop into the opening there. And they come back and say, whoever were the last people to use this toilet, they were suffering from tapeworm. They were eating raw meat and weeds. And the question is, why would somebody eat raw meat and weeds? Right?
Especially royalty.
Seriously, right? So if you look at the very beginning of 2 Kings chapter 25, the first 3 verses of the chapter, it talks about the Babylonian siege on Jerusalem. And it literally talks about the devastating impact that the siege is having on the people of Jerusalem. They are starving to death. And so you could imagine, why is someone eating raw meat? There's no more wood to make fire, but you're starving to death. And so you'll eat whatever you can. And so they just ate raw animals.
Yeah, the forces of King Nebuchadnezzar, Ze'ev, closing in. Right. A brutal siege, the Bible tells us. Terrible what they did in Jerusalem.
Yeah, and so an 18-month siege, and by the end of it, people are eating raw meat to the extent that people even had animals left to eat, and eating whatever's growing in the ground, grass, weeds, whatever. And so this toilet is a testament to the biblical description of the Babylonian siege on Jerusalem, that in Jerusalem, in the city of David, the place where Jerusalem began, the historic site of biblical Jerusalem, even a toilet affirms the truth of the Bible, not simply as a matter of faith, but as a matter of fact.
Ze'ev, incredible, my friend. And when you combine the truth of the Bible with irrefutable archaeological and scientific evidence, I believe you have an unbeatable combination.
And especially now in Corona, it just tells us, reminds us even more the importance of personal hygiene, right? You don't want to get those bacteria and tapeworms. We didn't want it 2,500 years ago. We don't want the bacteria today. So everyone should just eat right and have proper hygiene, and get through all this stuff.
That's right. And hey, the real moral of the story, I guess you would say, is guess what? The Babylonians destroyed the first temple. They burned Jerusalem. It was a horrible period, but the Jewish people are still here. They're still standing, and the state of Israel is back, never to be uprooted again.
That's right.
That's right. Ze'ev Orenstein, thank you so much, my friend. We look forward to seeing you at the City of David in person, hopefully very soon. Maybe I'll even use the toilet. Who knows?
God willing. God
bless, my friend. Take care, Ze'ev. Thank you.
Take care. Thanks a lot.
Well, coming up after the break, we head with our good friend, Danny the Digger Herman, and Watchman correspondent Raj Nair to the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee, to yet another amazing archaeological site that could be the very place that Jesus referenced in one of his most famous sermons. Folks, you will not want to miss this. Don't move.
These truly are trying times, but our mission at Christians United for Israel goes on as we obey God's biblical mandate to stand with Israel. For the first time ever, you are invited to participate in CUFI's virtual summit on June 28th through 30th for free. Attend sessions including CUFI's Night to Honor Israel live on Facebook and YouTube. Hear from top American Jewish and U.S. officials, lobby Capitol Hill digitally, and ensure our representatives know America's Christian Zionists stand with Israel. And for the small cost of $25, you can attend additional special briefings, including a virtual tour of Jerusalem's City of David, CUFI's Never Again film panel with Qasim Hafiz and Holocaust survivor Irving Roth, and a special briefing with members of the IDF. Don't miss this unique opportunity to learn what CUFI is all about and stand with Israel digitally from the comfort of your home. Register today at www.cufi.org/summit.
And welcome back. On a hill overlooking the eastern shore of the Sea of Galilee sits one of the most beautiful and stunning archaeological sites in all of Israel. And yet, it is still relatively unknown and few tourists venture there. But what if I told you that this site may have been the very site that Jesus referenced in one of his most famous sermons? It's called Hippos-Sussita, and our good friend Danny the Digger Herman traveled there with Watchman correspondent Raj Nair to unravel the mystery of this ancient site. Take a look.
Well, Danny, it's always a pleasure to have you on The Watchman.
My pleasure and honor to be on the show.
And today we're in a fascinating archaeological mountain, really. And speaking from personal experience, not many tourists get to come here.
Yes.
It's called Sussita. I don't really see that much in my Bible, but it might be mentioned, if you will. Tell us the story of this place.
Well, for one thing, let's make it clear. It's not mentioned by name in the Bible. And it is personally, for me, my favorite secret hidden gem. It's really a site that is so beautiful, such an amazing view. Wait till we get to the edge. And yet it's not yet officially open to the public. Even the road here is not officially open.
Oh, so this is really VIP.
Yes, this is a secret spot that only those who knows into the small details will know to get up here. And in short, the site was founded in Hellenistic times, but its golden era would be the Roman and the Christian times.
Gotcha.
It was probably settled by the soldiers of the generals inheriting the kingdom of Alexander the Great. But why did they all favor it? I mean, even from here, you can see on both sides, there's a steep valley, okay, that gives you protection. It's a bit like Masada.
Impregnable fortress, basically.
Totally. The only possible way to get up to the top, where there's a road, is the way we came from the southern eastern side. It was very well guarded, very well protected with tower. Even today, by the way, there are minefields because of the time that Israel held this, and on the ridges around us there were Syrians. That was the reality here till 1967. And look, here you have a bunker from the 1950s and 60s when the Israelis held this hill, but it was an important strategical location to protect the kibbutz and Ze'ev behind us.
Makes total sense. Now you can start to see the Sea of Galilee.
Yes.
You're right there.
Yes, and only in the 1990s, finally, Haifa University started working here, uncovering, first of all, where we are walking. Dekumanos.
I was about to say, this is not a new road. This
is from the 2nd or 3rd century CE.
Wow.
This is nearly a 2,000-year-old road. Why is this place important for the Christian world? Well, for one thing, not the site, but the city as part of a political treaty is mentioned in the New Testament. Not by its name, but if you remember when Jesus camps in Capernaum,
which is just over there,
just on the other side of the lake. He anchors there for at least 3 years, and then he walks around, he travels, he spreads his messages, and it says, in the Jewish towns, in their synagogues, he goes as far as Tyre and Sidon, and in the Decapolis. Now, what is Decapolis? You know this one, right?
10 cities.
Decapolis, 10 cities. Most of these cities today are in Jordan. Damascus is in Syria. But 2 cities are in Israel. Bet Shean, Niseskitopolis.
Where Saul was hanged.
Also in the Old Testament days. And this place.
Wow.
Hippos-Sussita was its full name. And being so, here is a place where Christian pilgrims can see one of those cities which Jesus may have visited. He may have actually walked, maybe not on this pavement, because it's from a later time, but on the pavement that preceded this one.
Still though, Danny, you can't do that to me, man. I get weak in the knees.
And look what happened here.
Oh my goodness.
This was uncovered already in the 1950s.
Wow.
This is a cathedral from Byzantine times. The Roman city, like all the other Roman cities, both here and anywhere else, they all become Christian cities. And as I'm going to show you, it's only one of 4 churches that were found here. Now, look at the details. Look at the columns. This is not local limestone or basalt. It's imported marble and granite and green marble. It's amazing how much wealth was brought here. Just the weight of these things. These were carried about 1,000 kilometers to decorate the city.
Time out. You're saying these very columns were brought from 1,000 kilometers away?
Yes, from quarries in Turkey, in Greece, in Tunisia. Yes.
How is that even possible?
Roman power.
Wow.
In the Bible, God calls on believers to pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Now you can celebrate your role as a watchman on the walls of God's chosen city with this special one-of-a-kind bracelet. Designed and crafted exclusively for Kufi by Ethiopian Jews who immigrated to Israel, this stunning bracelet symbolizes the biblical mandate to stand in defense of Jerusalem and raise your voice for Zion's sake. In honor of Israel's 72nd anniversary, for your gift of $72 or more, we'll send you this eye-catching Medja Maria bracelet that showcases your love for Israel and its eternal capital, Jerusalem. This exclusive Made in Israel bracelet is available while supplies last. So visit www.kufi.org/bracelet to receive yours today.
When you see a place like Sussita, you don't feel that far removed from the people that probably walked on these streets.
No, I totally identify with them. But what really made the site famous just recently is a church ahead of us where in the last season they found decoration on the floor which alludes to the miracle of the multiplication of loaves and fish.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, there's really tangible history here that relates to very events that happen around the corner.
This is too good. And I've been noticing these columns, it almost looked like they fell together, like they all were pushed over at the same time.
Yes, especially in the cathedral you see it, that all of the columns seem to have fallen in the same direction.
Yes.
I spoke to Erick about this at Bet Shean. The site ends brutally in a devastating earthquake that causes the whole city to fall flat on its face. Wow. What's interesting is that in Bet Shean it fell in one direction, and here it fell in the opposite direction, teaching us that Bet Shean belonged to the African plate, and this is part of the Arab plate, and they simply move like that.
Now I want to go back to one thing that you said. You said Jesus walked through the Decapolis. Now, a lot of those are in Jordan, pretty far away, one's in Syria, but one of them is right here, and what makes that so interesting is there's Capernaum, there's Tiberias, this is where his ministry was. This is the closest of those Decapolis cities. So I know you can't say it 99%, but you could probably guess that Jesus was here.
It said he went to the Decapolis cities, and this is the closest of the Decapolis cities to Capernaum. So he must have visited here. Even that the text doesn't say it, it's so sensible. And it might be the reason why Sussita has so many churches in it. There's one here, there's one there. I showed you already the cathedral, and they just found another one down on the slope here. Okay, this city became extremely Christian from the 4th century and on. But I think there's even a better, almost magical connection that one can make here to Jesus. I think that Jesus pointed his hand to this site in a specific text that you're probably familiar with.
Danny, this is an obnoxiously beautiful view.
Especially at this hour. Look at this.
So why'd you bring me up here? What were you alluding to?
Well, for one thing, again, this site is so important in the context of the New Testament. Just around the corner, by the way, is the site identified as where Jesus casted demons out of the possessed men. They entered swine who ran and drowned into the Sea of Galilee.
Just over there.
Okay, and the Decapolis is this. Okay, this is one of the cities of the Decapolis. But I think one can make even a closer connection to one of Jesus' sayings. And that's in the most famous speech that he gave, the Sermon on the Mount. Okay, Matthew chapter 5 records Jesus going on a high mountain above Capernaum. Capernaum is just on the other side there. Okay.
I see where you're going with this.
Verse 14, you are the light of the world. Okay, an image that is known also from the Dead Sea Scrolls about sons of light. Now he wants to demonstrate this. So he keeps saying, a city that is on a hill cannot be hidden. Now let's think about this for a minute. If you're sitting there and you want to demonstrate what it means, a city that is on a hill, where would you point to? So one option is to point to Tiberias, that's a city, but it ain't on a hill. Where do you have a city on a hill visible from Capernaum? There are actually two candidates. One is Gamla, a city behind us, and the other one is right here.
Danny the Digger, I cannot thank you enough.
My pleasure. Really my pleasure to illustrate the text and make it so lively like this. This is for me also quite a rewarding moment.
Thanks again to Raj and Danny for that fascinating piece. Well, coming up after the break, my final thoughts on why all of these incredible archaeological discoveries in Israel are coming to light today. Why now? Find out after the break. Stick around.
The rebirth of modern Israel is one of the greatest miracles in history. Despite centuries of tragedies and abuses, the Jewish people are once again thriving in their ancient and ancestral homeland. QAEDA's new ebook, Israel, 70 Years of Miracles, shows how God's destiny for Israel has been woven throughout her history, and how Christians are serving a divine purpose in blessing and defending His land. This free ebook is an invaluable resource that lays out Israel's remarkable story of resilience and how Christians can be a part of this modern-day miracle of God. Visit www.qfi.org/ebook to receive your free ebook today. And join QAEDA to add your voice to a movement of over 8 million Christians speaking out for Zion's sake.
And welcome back. Folks, we saw some amazing biblical archaeology today unveiled in the land of Israel. These discoveries are coming so frequently that it can sometimes be tough to keep up. Why is God doing this now, revealing all of these ancient secrets and mysteries in the land of Israel, His land? It's very simple, folks. The book of Habakkuk says that if the truth does not come to light, then the stones will cry out from the walls. And of course, Jesus says in the Gospel of Luke that yes, the stones will cry out. That is exactly what is happening today with these amazing archaeological finds. But again, why now? I believe it's very simple. With this growing chorus of anti-Israel voices around the world denying the ancient Jewish presence in Israel, even in Jerusalem, saying that Jerusalem is not and never has been the capital of Israel, even denying that Solomon's temple and Herod's temple once stood on the Temple Mount. With all of these voices growing louder and more influential, it's time to set the record straight with irrefutable archaeological evidence. Again, do not forget to register for our QAEDA virtual summit. Hey, the shelter-in-place restrictions have been lifted. Why not have a viewing party, a watch party with some of your family members, some of your best friends? Get some pizzas, sit down June 28th to the 30th, and enjoy our QAEDA virtual summit in the comfort of your living room or your basement online. It is the premier pro-Israel event in the United States. I will be there, of course, joined by Pastor John Hagee, some incredible speakers, Ambassador Nikki Haley, David Friedman, many, many more. That's June 28th to the 30th. Be sure to register now. Time is short. I will see you online for the QAEDA Virtual Summit. Thanks for joining us this week right here on The Watchman. God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.